Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, moms and dads joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude. We rooting, and we go into that fight to lay it on the line.
College football fans, the College Ball Show returns. I am your host, Chris Carlson. My co-host, Marshall, will not be joining me today. I decided to do a show just kind of randomly. We're getting to the point where, there's so many Friday games, I kind of forgot there were that many important Friday games. So we were going to do one tomorrow, but I looked and said, man, there's a couple of these big games that are tomorrow night. So I figured why not just bang one out. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving or not. Of course, you have that right not to. And maybe you just got some days off from work. Hopefully people, aren't having to put in too many hours. I know Black Friday's tomorrow, so that kind of sucks for those workers too. Hopefully you're getting time and a half. But anyway, let's get this show on the road. So it won't be, a back and forth thing. It's going to be just a shortened show, basically. Right to the point and just get right to it type thing. All right? I just got a couple of text messages going, what the hell? Okay. So anyway, obviously it's a big week. We're coming down the stretch. It is the last week of the regular season, and you save the best for last. You save the best for last in college football with Rivalry Week. Now, sometimes Rivalry Week means, Michigan's against Ohio State, right? Washington State and Washington. Other times it's just, in-state rivalry games that turn out to be better than expected. I'm going to do a little quick recap, of Week 12. It's a few upsets in the top 25, and there were like a variety of close-ass games that we'll go over. Won't be a long recap session. But that's the thing about Rivalry Week as far as, when I preview and debate, or not debate, I won't be debating. I'm so used to saying that. Preview and predict all the marquee matchups. Like I said, sometimes it's a really meaningful game. I mean, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, huge game in the Big 12. Those are all games that whoever wins those games will decide who goes to their conference finals. The championship title games. And obviously with the national semifinals on the line as well. It's kind of crazy that Alabama and Auburn are not in like the marquee matchups, but you never know. Could, the Tigers just be a sleeping giant that nobody sees? It doesn't seem likely, does it? But anyway, if this is your first time listening to the College Ball Show, you can stream it right here live on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. It streams live in archives. It's basically the headquarters for a variety of shows. The College Ball Show is under the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast. And so you can subscribe here, listen to it, get the emails, but you can also subscribe on iTunes, Player FM, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, all sorts of different sources. We're also part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network. That can be found and is available everywhere you listen to a podcast, including it can be streamed on iHeartRadio and streamed on Spotify. Head on over to thegruelingtruth.net. That's thegruelingtruth.net. It's football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's boxing, it's everything in between. Head on over to thegruelingtruth.net. You can read an article. I do a weekly prediction segments, or not, well, segments on the show too, but weekly prediction blog. And also I do some boxing writing for Grueling Truth as well. So, listen to a podcast right on thegruelingtruth.net and read an article. And while you're at it, make a bet. It'll link you right to mybookie.ag. Got a great sponsor, mybookie.ag, and I am just kind of all over the place. You can tell I kind of have some cobwebs of what's going on today. But anyway, let's do a quick recap session. Now, obviously, one of the biggest games, like I said, we did have some upsets out there, right? We did have some upsets, but inside the top 10. West Virginia went down to Oklahoma State 45-41. We almost had Ohio State go down to Maryland. The Buckeyes ended up pulling it out just barely 52-51. In overtime, Maryland decided to go for two, and it backfired on them. So just, a couple of upsets here. Florida State actually upset Boston College 22-21. That was kind of a surprise there. That's about in the way of big upsets. As far as, a couple of games that were just out there. Alabama, well, it wasn't an upset, but 10-10 to the Citadel at half. Literally, Alabama, who has been just smoking fools, back-to-back shutouts against ranked teams, and it's tied 10-10 at half, but that wouldn't last long. The Tide would, roll 50-17. Clemson rolled as well. Notre Dame looked really, really good in what I thought would be a closer, contest than what it turned out to be against Syracuse. Syracuse had been hot. They got a good offense. 36-3. Their quarterback did go down in the game. But still, that's impressive. Michigan let Indiana kind of hang around too long than they probably should have. That happens, though, when you're looking ahead. These young teens and early 20s, they look ahead. And they didn't get caught slipping, though, so they still got the victory. Georgia in Oklahoma handled business. LSU did as well. Washington State, 69 points on Arizona. My goodness gracious. Central Florida, University of Central Florida remained unbeaten, 38-13 over Cincinnati. Penn State got a win over Rutgers, 20-7. Wasn't pretty. Texas beat a very hot Iowa State Cyclone team, 24-10. Kentucky got back in the win column, 34-23. Washington handled Oregon State, 42-23. Utah won. Mississippi State and Utah State snuck one out against Colorado State, and they got a big game coming up. My Gophers, when I speak about my Gophers, I mean the Minnesota Gophers. They lost 24-14 against Northwestern. It was a tough one. They turned the ball over at key spots, just didn't finish some plays, missed some tackles, lost the game. Now they are traveling to Wisconsin and trying to get their sixth win of the year to go 6-6. I think it's the youngest, if not, well, for sure one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in the nation. Whole lot of freshmen, whole lot of redshirt freshmen, and even some sophomores out there. So hopefully they can get that sixth win, not just for the bowl game practices. Those are key. And obviously you can bond as a young team on the road traveling, but also, it's the Badgers, and it's been so freaking long since the Gophers beat Wisconsin. I don't even want to tell you how long it's been. Don't even Google it. It hurts to even Google. So that's a big game. And the second team that I follow is the Miami Hurricanes. They finally got off the schneid, pretty much handled Virginia Tech, especially in the second half, ran away with it. Of course, they had some issues. They had dismissed their best receiver. So their two top wide receivers, one unfortunately is injured for the rest of his career. And this guy here, he's dismissed from the team. So that's not a good sign for next year. Both guys were probably going to return. So anyway, there's that. It's crazy that Miami beat Virginia Tech and Florida State, but are having a bad season, to say the least. So my crafty pick of the week. And by the way, Marshall is going to have his picks. He also sent me the picks, so it's on the up and up, just so you know. It is on the up and up, okay? We are going to still do the crafty pick of the week. If you're just listening to the show, you know, now the crafty pick is my co-host Marshall picking the worst teams, worst matchup out there possible every week. And he blindly picks them, and I blindly pick them. He picks them. Well, he actually does dig a little bit more to pick them, but then I don't know. You know, I don't know who it's going to be, so I just blindly pick the winner, spur of the moment. So he texted me. I actually haven't seen it just yet, so that'll be interesting. So that about wraps up week 12. I cannot get my words out. Sorry about that. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. I'm really freaking tired right now. But anyway, having kind of a long day. Did a show I called the UK actually for a boxing show as well, and just a variety of other stuff. But anyway, we don't want to hear about that, do we? Nah. We want to hear about the picks coming up this week. Like I said, rivalry week. Always a fun week. I remember a handful of times being in Vegas in this spot. It's always cool. Oops, sorry about that. It's always cool because, you know, you get the Friday. Well, you get a Thursday game, technically, Ole Miss and Mississippi State play. Mississippi State, you know, a pretty heavy. God, see what I mean? Heavy. I can't talk right now. Heavy favorite in that game, but we'll see how it turns out. But it's fun because you have Friday and Saturday games, of course, the NFL games today. And if you're a sports fan in general, you have the college basketball going on as well. The Thanksgiving week and weekend games, tournaments and whatnot. In fact, my Gophers are 5-0 now. Hit a desperation 3 last night to beat Washington. Really good game. Anyway, let's get back to college football, shall we? All right, so, you know, like I said, a variety of marquee matchups during rivalry week. There could be some sleeping giants out there just waiting to be, you know, killed, so to speak. And 3 of these matchups that we're going to break down, actually 4, but I guess you can't really call Utah State and Boise State marquee, but hey, it's at least under the radar. But all 4 of those matchups will decide if a team will, you know, which team, not if a team, but which team goes to their conference final. Let's start with Michigan at Ohio State. Number 4, Michigan at number 10, Ohio State. 1 game remains in the regular season for the Wolverines to complete their revenge tour. Of course, standing in their way is the Ohio State Buckeyes. You know, this will be their best offense they've faced, clearly. It's probably not even close. And that's one thing. I mean, the Buckeyes for sure have one of the best offenses in the nation, if not the best. And Dwayne Haskins is having a superb year. He's definitely going to put up his numbers. But it's really up to the Michigan defense to limit Ohio State to a couple of field goals once they get into the red zone, just to kind of contain them, essentially. You know, you're not going to slow down Ohio State on offense. Or you're not going to stop them. You'll just slow them down. That's your goal. And they're going to get some touchdowns. Maybe in the red zone, try to stop them to a couple of field goals. That'll help in the long run. And if you look at Michigan, defense sound as hell, right? One of the best defenses, if not the best defense out there. And they've improved on offense. They've taken strides slowly but surely. They've kind of matched a very strong rushing attack with, I'd say, a serviceable quarterback, a dual threat quarterback. Is this the time that Coach Jim Harbaugh finally gets over the hump, against Ohio State or just in the Big Ten in general? We'll find out. The Buckeyes, on defense will need to create some turnovers. That's really the only way they're going to win this. I'm going to say Michigan will complete the revenge tour from last year, and the score will be Michigan 31, Ohio State 27. So a close game, not a runaway by any stretch. Maybe they'll both be in the 30s. I could see that as well. It's going to be a good game, though. Going to be a good game. Now, under the radar, this one's really not totally under the radar, but Washington sitting at 16, has 3 losses, hasn't been as good as the last couple of years, but still, pretty damn solid. And you have a red-hot number 8 Washington Cougar team that, is on a roll. This is the 111th meeting of the Apple Cup rivalry is what they call it, the Apple Cup. Clearly, the Cougars from Washington State, they got one of the best offenses too, and it's Gardner. What is it, Minshew? He's the guy behind, under center. Now, Washington State, their defense, has made major strides this year. And the former defensive coordinator, Tracy Claeys, is actually behind some of that success, or a lot of that success. And I say former Minnesota, and he was head coach for that 1 year too. So they're looking strong, man. The Huskies, Washington has that stellar defense, and they have a complete competent, quarterback. He's just kind of underachieving. The offense itself is underachieving. So he's really going to have to show out to kind of give some help to their defense because they're going to have their hands full. But, if any defense can slow or at least, like I said, contain a high-power offense, it just may be the Huskies. They do have some talent on that side of the ball. But I think this will be entertaining, and it'll likely come down to the last few minutes. I have Washington State winning 27-23. And actually, I almost forgot. Let me go to my co-host picks here. He has Washington State as well. He has Michigan as well, and he's going with West Virginia. Kind of interesting there. I like where he's going with that. I think Oklahoma's going to win. I really do think Oklahoma's going to win. But it's going to be, the winner goes to the Big 12 title game. West Virginia is coming off a heartbreaker of a loss to Oklahoma State. But like I said, they can still reach the Big 10 title game, and they're the ones who beat Texas. It's kind of the triangle effect here in the Big 12 with the top 3 teams. Oklahoma, needs this victory to earn a rematch with Texas. So West Virginia beat Texas, right? Texas beat Oklahoma, so it would be kind of crazy if Oklahoma beat West Virginia, and Oklahoma's gonna beat West Virginia. That's what I think. But yeah, the friggin' over/under set at 85. So you tell me, it's gonna be yet another Big 12 shootout. It's basically guaranteed to be a shootout. Set at 85. Will it be under or over? That is the question. Another one kind of under the radar. Utah State 21 against it's at Boise State, who's number 23, And is it the third or fourth consecutive week the Mountain West is in the spotlight for another key matchup in the non-Power 5 conference? As far as the non-Power 5 conference. Boise State, were supposed to dominate last week, and they did. But if you look at the last 3-4 games, I think it's 3 in a row, they've been in some tight games. Now, they found a way to win, but they have been in close games. After losing a week 1 non-conference game to Michigan State, the Aggies have rattled off 10 in a row. I really feel like that, I say it maybe not every week, but a couple of times a month for sure. I really feel like this thing's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, whether that's a late score, a team, in victory formation. I really believe this one's coming down to it. 37-30, I got Utah State knocking out Boise State and moving on to the Mountain West Championship game. Couple other, big games out there, rivalry games. Number 20, Syracuse against Boston College. No, this is not a misprint. It's not a college basketball game from Big East yesteryear. It's a quality ACC contest. It should produce a close ending. It'll be interesting to see if the Orangemen are hung over from last week's blowout loss to Notre Dame. Don't be surprised if the Eagles, who are coming off a bad loss, turn around and beat their rival, because, anything can happen in a rivalry game, no doubt about it. Speaking of rivalry games, like I said, my Miami squad, what am I talking about? Well, Miami plays too. They're actually favored to Pittsburgh, which I find a little strange. I think Pittsburgh might beat them. That might be the upset of the week. I think it's a 6-point favorite. I'm feeling that one. But my Gophers are facing the Badgers too. That'll be a close game because the Badgers are just not as good as we're used to seeing, in my opinion. Couple other, against the spread things. Maryland, I think, will eventually lose to Penn State, who's now up to 12. But the Terrapins will go down swinging. I think they'll cover as a 13-point underdog. One that goes in the easy money category, take it to the window. Take it to the window that a slight road dog in LSU will beat Texas A&M. Kind of surprised at that. I think A&M should definitely, be there. I really think they should be on top there. I kind of forgot to cover a couple other things from Week 12, just some basic numbers. Frickin' Minshew, Mr. Mustache from Washington State. Dude, he threw for 473 against Arizona, but he had 7 freaking touchdowns and no interceptions. It's unbelievable. Also, Taylor Cornelius, a guy we've been kind of keeping track of late for Oklahoma State, he threw for 338, 5 touchdowns. He also rushed for 106 and a touchdown. So that was huge, obviously, in that Cowboys upset over West Virginia last week. And talking about that back and forth 52-51 overtime game between Ohio State and Maryland, Haskins threw for 405 and 6 touchdowns, and McFarland ran for 298, almost 300, and 2 touchdowns in the loss. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this, too. Jonathan Taylor ran for 321 and 2 touchdowns last week, man. Wow. That was nuts in that big Purdue triple overtime victory. Oh, yeah, I forgot this one, too. Kansas, they lost. They were a heavy favorite, but they lost 55-40, put up a good fight against Oklahoma. Puka Williams rushed for 252 and 2 touchdowns. Murray kept it going with another stellar performance, accounting for 5 touchdowns and 371 all-purpose yards. So that about wraps it up. Hold on. Hold the phone. I almost forgot. What was I thinking? I haven't even seen the crafty pick yet. Where is the crafty pick? Okay, Liberty versus New Mexico State. is the crafty pick of the week. He texted me. Oh, he said the week of rematch. Is this a rematch? Is this like a conference final that I don't know about? I mean, why would I, know about this actually, right? I mean, who in their right minds would, unless you're just all, that in that conference, in that small conference here. All right, let's see, where the hell is this game so I can break it down? It's a bad game when you're scanning through ESPN.com schedule and you can't find the gosh darn thing. All right, Liberty. Oh my gosh. Liberty in New Mexico State University. Big game there in Williams Stadium in Virginia. According to Vivid Seats, there's 150 tickets left. They start as low as $5. So it's a big seller. It's just a wanted game. They don't have any spread or anything on this piece of shit, right? I can't even talk. That one actually had to do with my cat. So the last game that they were in, it was 49-41. The Aggies took down Liberty. Wow, I remember that game. What an intense game, huh? Man, as I'm touching this thing to see what the hell happened in the game, I forgot. Because, why not? Why wouldn't I? So yeah, it was just a mad dash back and forth all the way down the stretch. New Mexico State had gotten up 49-35. Liberty did score, but they just couldn't quite win the game. Man, this was actually a pretty good game here. First time around. All right, so the crafty pick, if this is your first time listening to the show and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the crafty pick of the week is it's picked by my co-host who's not here, but he did text it to me. And he just picks out the worst matchup that he can find, and I pick it. And when we went to school, I'm a little older than him, so he used to call me the crafty vet. That's why we call it the crafty pick of the week. And this one's a doozy. Like I said, some of these stats aren't even there. Some of them are. You can just start at defense. These teams, Liberty's at home now. Remember that. But these teams, wow, both of them give up over 40 on defense. That's pretty disgusting. Both of them give up a whole lot of rushing yards. New Mexico State gives up 282 to Liberty gives up 246. They give up more passing yards. Interesting enough. On the surface, Liberty should win this. But, man, this is a tough one again. Liberty's been on, well, I say they've been on a losing streak, but both of them have. Man, I really, this one's, maybe it's just the home team. The home team's just going to pull this one out. God, this is a tough one to pick. I'm going to, they had a nice little victory at home. Did the New Mexico State, what is their damn New Mexico State Aggies, I think, right? Yeah, the Aggies. Everybody knows that. Against the Liberty Flames. Ooh, they're freaking hot. I'm going with the Flames. I'm going with the Flames at home. Their quarterback doesn't give me a lot of confidence. He's thrown for 18 touchdowns. He's also thrown 16 picks. That's not necessarily good. They do run the ball, however, better, and that's where I think that the damage is going to be done. I got Liberty in the crafty pick of the week. Oh, you know what's sad? This is going to be the last crafty pick of the week. This is the last. Well, you know what? Maybe we get lucky and there's some garbage game that had to be rescheduled because of a storm or something like that. This might be the last. I started out the crafty pick of the week this year struggling. I think I was like 1 of 4. Just struggling mightily. And the funny thing about these games is they tend to, I mean, once in a while you got a blowout or a comfortable win, but they tend to be like dramatic finishes. And this year, it has been probably the most dramatic of all of them. Seriously, there's been so many games that come down to the wire. In fact, a couple of weeks back, PN featured one of the it was so funny. One of the freaking actual shows, like, or not shows, but games. They actually led their college final recap show with the game we picked. It was freaking hilarious. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Go Gophers, go Canes, go college football in general. I want a tight game that's really, really competitive and entertaining, whether it's defense or offense, between Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and West Virginia, Washington State, Washington, even that Utah State and Boise State. Can you please, college football gods, give us some really competitive games, whether they're ugly, where it's just, no offense, where it's all offense and the defense sucks, whatever it is. Just give us some great games. One last time this regular season. And then obviously a huge, week coming up in the conference finals. We may get some upsets. You just never know. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving for those, like I said, that celebrated. If not, I hope you're spending some fine. I can't talk. It was a perfect way to end the show to mess up a word. I promise you, I'm not under the influence of everything. Just tired. Stayed up really late. Called a UK show. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna get out of here before I just go silly. Enjoy the day. Get with some family or get with some friends. Relax. Kick your feet up. Put something in the air. Peace. I'm out. Enjoy the games. We'll be back next week.
Once you become the world champion, I believe that you feel you have the upper hand. So now, as you fight, let's say you fight 4 or 5 years of straight survival, the bullshit, the holdback, and when you become the world champion, you're like, you know what, I made it.